So there's some really good beaches, and the food is excellent here, and the people are very nice. So
I can deal with the bad nights when I'm with my baby, yeah.
Oh, how are you? Oi, gente, tudo bem? Esse é o canal Piece of Cake e hoje eu trouxe pra vocês a minha primeira conversa no Cambly. Pois é, criei coragem pra postar a minha primeira conversa no Cambly. Vocês vão ver que eu não falei muito, porque realmente é difícil a primeira vez, mas conforme você vai conversando com os nativos, vai ficando cada vez mais, né, more natural, cada vez mais natural e você vai se soltando mais. Eu espero que vocês curtam aí, já se inscreve no canal também, pode mandar os comentários e mandem pra mim também o que vocês querem que eu pergunte para os gringos, né? Me mande da onde, né? Do Canadá, da Irlanda, dos Estados Unidos, com quem vocês querem que eu converse, as perguntas que vocês querem que eu faça, o que vocês gostariam de saber deles, tá bom? I hope you enjoy, have fun, bye bye!
hello.
Hello!
Hi, how are you?
How are you? My name is Mary. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. My name is Keebler.
Where are you from?
I am originally from the United States, but I live in Vietnam.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
How long?
I have lived here for maybe just over 1 year. Before that, I lived in Thailand for 2 years.
Yeah. And in the United States, where?
In the U.S., we lived in Texas was the last state, but I've lived all over in the U.S., like maybe 17 different states.
Whoa!
I like to
Nice.
move.
I like to move too.
Where do you live?
I live in Brazil.
Oh, okay. Where in Brazil? In Rio, or do you live somewhere else?
In São Paulo.
Oh, in São Paulo. Okay. Yeah.
In the state of São Paulo, not the city.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I hear that is a lovely place. I have not visited there, but I have some friends and former students who live there.
Yes.
So what do you do?
I'm a mommy full time. I have 2 kids here, and I'm a Portuguese teacher too. This year,
okay.
I have to record in my classes and take online classes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And about you, you are just an online teacher?
No, I teach IELTS and I teach math and science I teach in an international school and at a language center. And I teach online on Cambly. So
Yes, in Vietnam.
yeah. Yeah. I live in a smaller city, maybe about 600,000 people. But we are a coastal province, so we're right next to the sea. So there's some really good beaches, and the food is excellent here, and the people are very nice. So I don't get much time to enjoy it all, but when I do get a day off, I definitely like to go to the beach and relax.
I'm going to see on maps. Just a minute.
Oh yes. I live in this city here. I will give you the name of the city, Quang Nai.
Let me see. Oh, that's so near the beach.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
What language do you speak in Vietnam?
I speak English. I am learning Vietnamese.
How can I
But
say it?
Vietnamese, yeah, Vietnam.
Vietnamese.
And most Asian languages, we put the ese at the end of the name, like Chinese, Japanese,
Portuguese.
yeah, Portuguese, Vietnamese, right? Most of that comes, at least in the English form, because of the last characters, right? Whether it's a vowel or whether it's a consonant, which is interesting because places like Korean or Korea ends in a vowel and we say Korean. But then you have languages like French,
Yes, French.
yeah, or Spanish.
Spanish.
I don't
was
know.
thinking about Spanish.
I don't know who made the rules, but apparently that's what they decided to follow some strange rule.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I tell we are Brazilian, the people think we speak Brazilian.
Right?
Brasileiro.
Yeah. No, speak Portuguese. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. It is interesting, right? It's like when my father lived in Chile for a long time, back in the 50s. So when I grew up, I learned Spanish. My mother speaks French and teaches French. My father spoke Spanish, and as well as English. So I grew up in a multilingual house. I am horrible at both French and Spanish.
Really?
Yeah, well, I know enough. I know enough to get by. Like when I lived in the U.S. and I would go to Mexico, I knew enough Spanish to get by, and it's the same in. I haven't ever been to France, but I did go to Quebec in Canada, and they speak primarily only French. And they're really snobby. If you don't speak good French, or if you don't speak French, they don't like to talk to you. It's very strict. Well, I don't know. It's kind of like in France. They don't like to speak English. If you don't speak French,
Really?
they're kind of really snobby. But so I have spoken French. And my mother still speaks French, and I speak French to her occasionally. She's also an English teacher and a French teacher, so she still corrects both of my languages. She's 76 years old, and she still likes to teach.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah,
And, what does she think about you are teaching?
she finds it so my degree and my backgrounds are in computers, and I worked in computers for almost 20 years before my wife and I moved overseas. And when I started teaching, my mom said, "That's amazing. You're really good with kids." And I said, "But I don't like teaching little kids." And she goes, "Well, why? You're so good with them, and you're good at teaching teenagers as well." And I said, I don't know. I feel uncomfortable doing it. And she said, "Well, I'm sure you'll do great." So every time I share a success story about my students, like getting it, she's like, "I'm so glad," she gets really happy about it. I still feel awkward teaching kids, though. It's very strange for me, I think, to realize that I'm teaching English when but what's funny is, for me, English was one of my favorite classes when I was in high school, um, but not when I got to college. When I went to university, I hated English. Just too much writing. I love to write though, which is funny, but not not when I was in university. Yeah.
And what did you study in the university?
I have a bachelor's degree in information systems security. So computer security is where I focused, and I spent a lot of time, many years working in computers. About 19 years working in computers. Things like systems engineer to database administrator. You know, that was what I like to do, and what I ended up doing. So, yeah,
It's a great area to work in.
it definitely allowed. I will say two things about information technology. One, there's a good way to make good money. Two, if you don't like always learning something and being a student, it is not the profession for you. Because you always have to learn. Because if you don't learn, you fall behind, and then quickly you will find that you don't know enough to keep your job. And so it's very, it's one of those things you always have to be learning at. So I like being a student and learning. And so for me, it was a great career choice. Yeah. But now I like teaching. Now I like teaching and living abroad and doing, new and unique different things. So, yeah.
You told a wife. Do you have a wife?
Yes. Yeah. I'm married. My wife and I have 3 children. Our children.
Okay.
So, what drove you? What brought you to Cambly? As far as teaching, because you teach Portuguese. Are you learning English for business or just for self-improvement?
And I think the Cambly is good when I have a question, a grammar question. I ask you.
It is. I find, for me, I am still relatively new to teaching English, like only 3 years. And
More than me.
I like Cambly because it forced me to learn, the rules again. Right. So I have this huge collection of favorites stored in my browser of all these websites that teach English, right? Things like this website is great for videos about grammar and playing grammar games. I like this website for English tests, also about grammar. But they have lessons as well as tests. So I like that. And they've grown, right? They started out with just grammar, but now they do some listening and a little bit of reading and some writing in English, which are really good. They're free. But it's other resources, right? As a teacher, we try to find as many resources as we can. And I realize I'm speaking fast. So
No, I'm checking the site.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. I love to give things out, that can help anyone, practice and refresh your knowledge, right? And things you can use in the classroom.
Yes.
The first website, he does videos on YouTube, and he is British. So there is a little bit of an accent, which I find helpful for my students to realize the difference between an American accent and the British accent. But his British accent is very little. It's very, minimal. So it's a lot
I
easier.
like
Yeah.
it. I like the British.
Yeah, I do too. I think as an American, we have this fascination with British accents. And I think,
Really?
okay, first off, there's a saying in America that everyone in America has tried, or in the United States at least, has tried to speak with a British accent. We all try it. From the first moment we hear it, we are like ingrained, oh, we used to be British subjects. Well, that means I should be able to speak with a proper British accent. And that's a horrible accent, by the way. But we all try it. Like, I think from the time of 3 years old, every person from the United States has tried to speak with a British accent. I grew up in Boston, and in Boston, there's a lot of history around the independence from Britain. So because of that, sorry, my dogs are deciding to just stuff, and hey,
No problem. I have dogs.
I have two young puppies, and they should be going to bed, but because I'm working on Cambly for an extra hour tonight, they are full of energy, and I'm like, oh. So my one half of the room is a complete mess, and so when I get off, I'm gonna have to sweep and clean, and then So I apologize for noise and distraction.
I didn't even ask it to you. What time is there?
It is 1:45 a.m.
Oh,
It's very late. It is very late. Yeah. But
here it's almost 3
Yeah, what time is it there? Almost 3 p.m.?
p.m.
Yeah.
The sun is shining. But I think it's going to rain.
Oh, yeah. So I have a question. Is it considered winter there, or is it summertime?
It's summer.
Is it summer? Okay.
It's really summertime until March.
Until March?
These months are the worst. December, January, February. It's too hot.
And so does your summertime, do you have a lot of rain during your summer, or does that come at a different time of the year? Like, do you have a rainy season, like monsoons?
Yes, I think it's October, November.
Okay.
And December too, but it's too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rain comes and goes and comes again and goes, and the sun and the rainbow.
Yeah. So here, the monsoon season or the rainy season is just finished for us. Here, we get the same. Basically, it's hot and wet, or it's yes, or it's either hot and wet, or it's hot, and that's or it's just wet. There's an island off the coast of Scotland called the Isle of Skye, and my niece is actually named for her name is Skye. And my sister named her after that island because people have not lived on it for hundreds of years, and it's kept as a forest preserve, meaning they don't build buildings on it. But people they sometimes go and visit, but it's very beautiful forest. And so my sister but It's just off the coast of Scotland, north of the Isle of Man. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not Isle of Man. It's near.
Yeah, it's near it. Yeah. Yeah.
I was searching about the Isle of Man, and there is no airport there. We need to go by
Boat.
ship.
Yeah, by ship or boat. Yeah. Yeah. That's the same with this other island. Yeah. It's interesting how we still have places like that in the world where, you know, some of us in big cities, we get so used to thinking in big developed countries, we're used to like, okay, can I get there by bus or train, or can I drive there in my car, or can I fly there? No, I have to take a boat. Really? A boat? That would take so long. Yeah.
Yes. And about Ireland, have you already been
To
there?
Ireland? Oh, yes. I went there before we moved to Thailand. My wife and I, we went to Ireland. It was the first place that I visited when I left the United States. It was I told my wife the first place in the world I want to visit is Ireland. So she said, okay, we are going.
To visit Ireland.
It is beautiful.
You both are great travelers.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We definitely like to travel.
And stars.
Yeah. And what's nice is we went, and even though we were in Ireland, we took 2 days for a total cost of like $12 or £12. We flew from Ireland to London and spent 2 days in an Airbnb in London, just walking around the city. It was wonderful. And so we got to see.
You tried the British accent?
Yeah, I did. I was better at my Irish accent. I can really speak like the Irish. I really love them. They're much better. It's more natural. We are out of time. It was very